We want to bring in John Iannarelli.
John is the former assistant special agent in charge for the FBI in Arizona. John, thanks for joining us. Look, this is 6-7 hours old, having this video in hand. How big a break is this, and what can investigators learn from that? Because the person's face is completely obscured and he was wearing gloves.
Despite that, Mark, this is a huge break in this case. We have a lot of information that the FBI can use in solving this matter. You have a physical description of the body size, the shape. Forensic analysis will be able to tell the FBI exactly how tall this subject is, how much he weighs, shoe size even. But more importantly, look at the clothing, all rather distinctive, especially the backpack with the reflectors. Somebody is going to recognize this individual. They're going to be able to pick up the phone, call the authorities, and hopefully we're going to get someone in custody soon.
Yeah, John, is there anything else that stands out to you aside from some of the clothing? I know I've heard some talk of in the video, the suspect picks something up from the ground with their left hand, possibly meaning that maybe this could be a left-handed person.
Exactly. Also in the way the weapon was worn, the holster in the center, it's kind of unusual. The gun is facing in a way that would indicate it's right-handed, but a person who handles weapons knows you don't wear a gun like that to begin with, so perhaps they are left-handed. More importantly, though, is the way the person moves. We hear a lot about facial recognition, but just as important is what's called gait recognition, the way a person moves and walks. You can disguise your appearance, but it's difficult to disguise the way you traverse the ground. That will be indicative of that type of person. Somebody's going to recognize how that person walks, how they carry themselves. Just another clue that can lead to the resolution of this case.
John, I'm the first guy to admit I don't know anything about kidnappings, but from the appearance, this guy casually walks up to the door, and every clip I've seen of a kidnapping in another country, it's fast. They have a plan, they enact it, they grab the person, and they go. This guy comes up to the door, not in a hurry, picks flowers to try to obscure the camera. He just seems like an amateur to me. Does he appear to be amateurish to you, or does he signal more that he's a professional burglar, abductor, criminal?
We see this a lot in various crimes. Criminals think they're smarter than everyone else, yet they really don't know what's going on. I don't see this as a kidnapping. I see this as somebody who planned some sort of robbery, home invasion, and obviously things did not go well. When you look at the amount of time he spent on the front porch just attempting to cover up a camera, a professional would know about the camera's existence and have eliminated it immediately, either through tape or paint sprayed on the lens. Likewise, the amount of time spent in the house. This individual spent more time in that house than the U.S. government spent in Venezuela recently, bringing someone back from there. So, does not strike me as professional, but even though you're not professional, you could still be dangerous, and that's what we have in this matter.
John, we have the issue of the alleged ransom letters. Does this video, in your opinion, create any kind of link now between that alleged abductor and these alleged ransom letters?
The ransom letters, to me, seem to indicate a couple of different things. Number one, it could be someone who knows they've messed up badly and looking to throw law enforcement off the trail. Also, let's not forget that there's a lot of people out there that are criminals themselves and want to capitalize on an opportunity. So the ransom notes may be totally unrelated to the person we're seeing in this video. Both are crimes, both are going to be solved by authorities, but they may not necessarily be connected in any way.
Yeah, that certainly makes things more complicated, it seems like, for investigators. We've seen FBI agents in the surrounding area of Annie Guthrie's neighborhood, so her daughter. But we know that Nancy obviously was taken from her home, which is about 20 miles away or so. So What do you make of that? What do you make of FBI investigating around Annie Guthrie's home?
I wouldn't read too much into it for anything nefarious. Number one, family members are victims. They need to be kept in the loop of any of the latest developments, and that's probably what the FBI and Sheriff Department has been doing. Likewise, we're still trying to figure out how this person learned of her whereabouts or why he chose that residence. There's always a chance that when she went home that night, she was followed by another vehicle, or somebody may have seen something. This person may have been in that area. Now that we have these images, it's the opportunity to go back to neighbors, not just around Nancy's home, but around the children's homes as well, and talk to neighbors, showing them the picture. Have you seen anyone who kind of fits this description? It may ring a bell that previously had not been there and can provide new information.
If this was, and I've heard it said several times, and you seem to believe it to a certain extent, if this was a burglary gone wrong, and it's been 9 or 10 days now, how does that bode for Nancy Guthrie? And in a remote area like that, if this person dragged her from the house, we saw the blood splatter on the porch, but wouldn't there be something, blood or a bodily fluid, in the dragging of her, and wouldn't authorities be able to pick up on that?
It certainly depends on what the injury was and the nature of the blood that was found and what kind of wound, whether or not there would be more. As an investigator, I refuse to not remain optimistic. The goal here is to find Nancy and bring her back home to her family. If things turn out poorly, it'll all be dealt with at that time. But right now, the driving force for agents and sheriff's officials working this is to successfully resolve this case and at the same time, arrest the criminal and bring that person to justice.
John, our reporter down in Tucson just reported that a TV station in Tucson was saying that there is some money now in that Bitcoin account that was in the ransom letter. What do you make of that? We know that it wasn't a large amount. It was less than $300, which is way below the $6 million that supposedly is being asked for. What do you make of that?
It could be one of a couple of things. The person who set up this account may deposit a token sum in there just to show that they're actively monitoring the account for those in law enforcement that are monitoring it. Likewise, it could be on the law enforcement family side making a token payment to see if there's any reaction or any further communication. No one's going to send money without proof of life. There has to be some sort of communication by the people that are alleging to be holding Nancy for ransom, and they have to respond to a communication. This is a means of sending a message out.
And we heard that it took a number of days to get that Google video because she didn't have an account that stored the video. So they went back to the servers, and Google cooperated with them to provide this video. How difficult a process is that?
It's not an easy process, and that's why it's so important that the FBI was involved in this case, because it's something the FBI does exceedingly well. If you don't have an account where you're storing images, it can still be found on the company's server. But number one, you have to get a search warrant from the government to be able to get that information for the company to comply. And the video evidence may have been overwritten by other data as it's coming in. The FBI can use technology to scrape off those earlier images. It's painstaking and time consuming, but you can see the results make it all worthwhile.
John, obviously investigators are keeping a lot of information close to the vest, but for those of us just kind of looking from the outside, it just seems like so many of these moving parts don't seem connected, at least directly. It just seems kind of all over the place, very confusing. In your opinion and your experience with kidnappings, is this complicated? Like, is this one of the most complicated kidnapping cases that you've seen?
It's certainly far more complicated because we did not receive any sort of direct ransom. No one in the past would think of going to TMZ or other outlets to deliver ransom messages if, in fact, the ransom message is being sent by the person holding Nancy. That has complicated the situation, but the FBI and law enforcement in general always works complicated cases. There are people addressing every one of these leads, and when one is discovered to have fruitful information, that's what makes the case. Started here today with this video, and I think we're going to see a resolution as a result.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, now that we have this video and perhaps the FBI has had it for a day or two before they released it, and they've looked at it, and there are things that they can pick up that the average person can. Do you think that we are close to this, some sort of resolution?
Absolutely. When you say the FBI had it for a day or two, remember, before they put it out, they need to do analysis, make sure what they have is correct. They talked to family members and showed it to them individually to make sure, is there anyone in this video that you recognize? Going through all of that, because we don't want to notify the subject that we're aware of him if we have enough information to identify him and go in and make the arrest. Having done all that, then it's the time to bring it forward to the public and get the public's help. And Mark, a lot of cases are solved because of the public. I think this is going to be one of them.
1-800-CALL-FBI if you know something, if you've heard something, even if it sounds trivial or insignificant, give them a call. John Iannarelli, thank you for your insight and context on this.